Get that?
Yes, I listened to the minister.
All right, that's coming from the Minister of Education right here in Nigeria, Tunji Alausa. He's saying that we're moving from the 9 years compulsory education to the 12 years compulsory education. He's referring to 30, 40 years ago that it was far better than now. What's your comment? What's your take first? Let's begin on that.
Yeah, so that's the challenge we have in this part of the world. The minister has identified a problem in terms of the quality of education we're offering, but is misdiagnosing the problem that is the cause of that problem. The cause of that problem is not the nomenclature and divisions with respect to how our children run through the education ladder. The major challenge is the fact that we are not teaching well. The teachers don't have the skills because we have not trained them. We are not also getting parents involved adequately in the education process so that they can play their roles well. We are not funding the education process well. We don't provide the right technology. And society has so degenerated to a level where the average Nigerian child sees education as a scam and therefore doesn't invest adequately to learn when he or she is in the classroom. So the challenge we have with the education system is not whether it's 6334 or 654 or 1224. The challenge we have with our education system lies in the fact that there are misfits everywhere. The average teacher in any classroom in any part of the country today is a teacher who doesn't want to be a teacher, who is compared by circumstances to get into the classroom. And once they find what they really want to do, they leave the classrooms. And so they are not investing in personal development, and their employers, whether private or public, are also not investing in them. So the whole idea of you don't want the burden of
educational needs of the people, and then equipping the Nigerians with sellable skills that will make of self-reliant. But well, many years after, and all of this, it moved back to 934, which was reintroduced in the curriculum to meet the Millennial Development Goals, the MDGs. This 6334 system right now is about 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of tertiary education. Is that line not good enough? Are you also saying that? Are you questioning the fact that the minister is not towing the right path?
Well, the minister has been misinformed. That's the truth of the matter. As I have already put on record, the problem with your education system is not whether it is a 934 or 6334.
So you're saying you shouldn't have focused more on the system, the 6334, the 12-year system. It's more of the infrastructural, administrative. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I think in the course of his presentation, if you listen to the full address, you would have also heard him talk about children having compulsory 12 years of education. Yes. That's not a bad idea. I know several countries that are operating at the same level. Finland, which runs the best education system at primary and secondary school level in the world today, they have that idea and they are implementing it effectively. If you're a child in Finland, you are compelled at government expense to remain in the school system until you're age 18. So if that's what the minister is talking about, yes, it's a perfect idea. Because a well-educated citizenry is a citizenry that will be easy to govern, who also have the ideas and the knowledge, the skills, and the values that they can bring to the table to ensure that their society flourishes. Okay, but Nigeria is not right to do that, because as we speak, what we have is Nigeria funding the first 9 years of a child's education compulsorily. So if you're in the public school system, it's government's responsibility to pick up the bills that keep you in that system for 9 years. But we know that the government is struggling to do that. They are not coping. So if you now say they have to stay there for 12 years, it means you're adding another 3 years, people in senior secondary school. to your current burden. And your current burden is too heavy for you to carry. Why are you adding three more levels? You can't handle it. We all know that. This is an open secret. So why is the government chewing more than it can, more than it can put in its mouth more than it can chew? So I think that there's a big challenge. The minister has been misinformed. The country he comes from, in terms of where he has practiced medicine for several years, he's a specialist in kidney care. He has practiced that in the U.S. In the U.S., they have elementary school. In the U.S., they have middle school. In the U.S., they have high school. In the U.K., they have elementary school.
Yeah, they have
high school. They have sixth form before you go to university. In Finland, they have elementary school. They have lower secondary school. They have upper secondary school before you go to university. And even before you go to university, you're encouraged to first go for military training. So when they talk about international best practice, I do not know who is telling him what international best practice is in education. If he talks about it in the field of medicine, yes, people like us can listen to him because he's an expert in the area. But when it comes to education and you're discussing this thing and you're calling it international best practice, which country are we copying? I'm not aware of the country of Nigeria is trying to copy now. So his lieutenant just come up with this fancy idea because probably they want to give them just job. And then we call a press conference and we fly commissioners of education from the 36 states of Nigeria to Abuja, wasting public funds. Each of them, got flight return ticket to Abuja, spent money staying in hotel. We have spent money on intra-city transportation. And some of them are likely to come with their girlfriends and family members. So it's just wastage. This was absolutely uncalled for. We should pour our resources into training our teachers so that they can give our children the best instruction possible in classrooms. We should pour our money into equipping our laboratories so that our children finish from the system and become globally competitive. We should pour our money in retraining even the policymakers themselves, people like him and those who have oversight function in parliament with respect to education. Those people should be helped to understand what education means. They should get a clear idea regarding education philosophy. What is education supposed to be offering Nigeria? Those guys have no idea. And you are wasting time on the least important thing in the education system in our country. So when I listen to you guys report what is happening in the education sector, a lot of the times I weep because I see a lot of ignorance being manifested and we are being ridiculed globally.
And that's why we have people like you to come to readdress, things that are being said in the educational sector. Researchers who have definitely read wide and traveled wide in this field, to probably enlighten the government on its actions. Okay, it's time for us to turn the tune to the listeners, to Nigerians, to be a part of this conversation. Yes, Lagosians, be part of this conversation. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that the federal government is proposing a 12-year basic education. And that's to tell you that earlier there's been a talk of scrapping the JSS and the SS, models in Nigeria. But then it came back to also reiterate the statement that, well, it wasn't like that. That was not what he meant. But he meant that this to replace the model. Be part of the conversation. 0705-890-4927. 0705-890-4927. Let's get your comments and also your questions. We have an education research and expert in educational field. So keep your questions brief as possible. Also, you can call us 0805 092 0927. 0805 092 0927. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please kindly turn down the volume on your radio set, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Please go ahead, make your statement, your comment. What's your name? Where are you calling from, by the way?
Yes, my name is Roland. I'm calling from Ikeja.
All right.
Exactly the man that
Roland
spoke
from Ikeja.
now. Yes, the man that just spoke now is very intelligent and he has been far and wide. You know what these politicians and these ministers forgot, that Nigerians are traveling a whole lot worldwide, going to school. Families that have money have sent their kids everywhere. When you initiated this was when the normal people are ministers. These days they are buying posts lobbying themselves in a position. You are putting somebody as a Minister of Finance, he doesn't have any idea of finance. You're putting Minister of Education, he didn't go to school. And now you are changing laws because of your money, putting presidents, putting everybody in the position. You don't know these children are seeing, and they are wiser than this generation are wiser than what you expect. So the man that just spoke, when it is speaking, these days everybody's running helter-skelter. We are changing laws. We are doing things with money. We don't know that these children are seeing us. You change a position and a landmark of a country because you want somebody to be a president. You say 25% doesn't count again. The kids are seeing. And they have now understood education is no longer important to acquire position. That's why you see them running around for ritual and money. You think they are kids and you don't know their brains are too much. And sometimes what we do, we don't know it affects the future generation. The Americans are comparing to Nigeria. Have you fixed other things? Public education are no more. And the little ones that are running, government is charging the parents and the teachers to bring money before the WAEC. How do you think they will focus? How do you think the parents will continue in that manner? How are we going to get a good presidency in the coming generation? Or are we preparing thieves and armed robbers into position?
All
It's
right.
like when you wake up this time, people are talking about 2027. Why can't we reform the INEC? Why can't we change these things when we vote that Nigerians will see it? And you are comparing yourself to USA that when they vote, you see it from Africa. And you are in Nigeria voting, somebody saying it's glitching, speaking some nonsense, nuisance grammar.
All right,
And we take
thank
them
you.
for granted. And now we are campaigning for 2027, while other things have not been put in place.
Thank you very much
This is the
for
way
your.
people reason here. Nobody is saying the truth. And you press, whenever you come up and somebody wants to say the truth, you shut down the person. Is that how they do in US? Don't you hear everybody?
I mean,
talking?
we've
You are comparing yourself
we've
to
had
the United States.
we've had your statement, we've had your comment, we've had your comment. We've taken note, and even the
Thank you, sir.
with the guest. Thank you very much for your comment there. I mean, Dr. Peter, it seems coming from a very concerned parent right there. I mean, what's your comment? A lot of people, that's coming from the financial angle. More money will be paid. 12 years. More money will be paid. That's the extra 3 years. How do you react to this?
Well, I did mention that when you talk about compulsory education, countries that are insisting on compulsory education, or beyond the what we call basic education in Nigeria up till now, which is up to JS3. Those countries have their governments pick up the bills. Finland is offering compulsory education until they are age 18. But government picks up the entire bill. I do research in Finland as an educational researcher.
All right, okay,
And you need to get into their classroom. Government picks up the entire bill. Government pays all the teachers. Government equips all the laboratories. The average child in Finland doesn't attend the private school, including ministers' children. They are all in public school.
I mean, that's the challenge.
Okay,
That's the
they eat buffet lunch at government expense every day. That way, there's an incentive. See, you're talking about compulsory education. Government says they don't have money to fund anything. Even those in high school, in tertiary institutions, they're asking them to come and borrow money. In proper countries who know the value of education, you don't, especially those in the Scandinavian region who are doing very well with respect to quality of life. You don't borrow money. The government picks up the bills for you to go to school because they know you need competent manpower to be globally competitive. So government should take responsibility for making that happen.
I mean, the question sometimes we ask is, most of these government officials, go through this free education. Remember the time of Awolowo and co. This free education, the years passed. But now it seems to be like, the free education cannot be offered. Now, we know the numbers of private schools we have and how much, parents pay for these private institutions. How many public schools do we have now? Even the public schools have. We know how much is being paid, before a child can get admission and pay for WAEC and all of this. Thank God for some philanthropists who sometimes take up all of this WAEC payment, JAM payment and all of that. If not, what would have been some parents who can't afford to probably get a WAEC form or get a JAM form? It would have just been a fruitless effort on the child of their as a parent to their child. But sometimes we need to just talk about it, bring in researchers like this, like you, to react to issues like this. Lagos, don't forget, you can be part of this conversation. 0805 0805 092 0927. 0805 092 0927. Or you can call us 0705 890 4927. 0705 890 4927. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you calling
Good morning.
from? Good morning.
This is Dr. Barry Tule.
Dr. Barry, from where?
Yes, calling from Akoka.
All right, Dr. Barry from Akoka, please make your comment.
Thank you. I want to really appreciate our speaker on the radio. He has shown capacity. Yes, I want to react from the outset of the minister is not well informed, just like I said. Those of us who are in higher institutions, we know what we are passing through. The laboratories are dilapidated, classrooms are not well equipped, the workshops are not functioning, and you come up every day and say the teachers are not doing well. This is quite unfortunate. Those of them that take their children to higher institutions in foreign lands, are this the same workshop they have over there? If they have such workshop over there, would they take their children there? Why can't we just furnish our now the education system in Nigeria? Every day we keep talking about education. Education is not doing well. Education is they are not doing well. They are not producing. They are not doing this. We have not been able to equip these people with the right skills and the right equipment and machines to work with. That is why every day we keep throwing out students from. They say, hey, the students are not. No. Let the minister, all the government, the policymakers, be able to come up with something and say, okay, let's sit back. Education is in higher institutions, in secondary institutions. What are your challenges? Bring this to the table and let's work out with this. Let's develop a model to solve this thing once and for all. It's not just what we'll be talking about every day from one generation to the other, from one administration to the other. Educations are not doing well. Scholars. There are a lot of scholarly articles everywhere in Nigeria, everywhere in the internet, everywhere in the library, lying there. Sometimes it pains me when I listen to radio. I begin to hear the ministers, the government saying all this type of things. It really annoys me. I'm not happy at all because we that are in the system, we are the lecturers' offices. They are not working. How can the man read on this kind of circumstance? How can the man perform well in this kind of dilapidated building? During reading season, everywhere before that. And you say they are not doing well. How do you expect them to perform? Please, let them come back, invite the academia, let them develop a model, and the government is going to put these things into practice.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for your comment there. Okay, Mr. Dr. Peters, we understand that you have a very, very busy schedule today. But quickly before we'll let you go, that's a caller there saying that they're very, very, very disappointed with this. What other models or system are you proposing to the government? Or what's the solution on ground to this?
Yeah, well, if you go and ask those who study political science, for example, they will remind you of a scholar, a political scientist, a philosopher who did say that as for forms of government, let fools contend. What is best administered is best. It's not about these nomenclatures, whether it's 6334, 654, or 12, or 124, whatever you want to call it. Make sure that whatever system you have chosen to run, that system is well administered. The fundamental error we keep ignoring in our education system is the fact that the wrong people are superintending it. Right from the Federal Ministry of Education down to local government levels where politicians are in charge. Go and check. The minister says after they have committed this error of making a policy announcement without first consulting stakeholders, and now says they are going to go back to talk to the stakeholders. Go and monitor them, and you will discover that when they start consulting, they will consult only politicians who know nothing about education. The minister, the commissioners of education he gathered in Abuja, and work with them to make this announcement. Go and look at their profile. You are not likely to find up to 10% of them who can define the concept of learning. They know nothing about education. They are politicians. Starting with himself, for example, he's a kidney care expert who has been practicing in the US. And he comes here, a physician, a medical doctor, you give him education to run. His immediate predecessor in office, a lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, a professor of education, professor of law, who knew nothing about education. And you gave him the most important minister in our country to superintend. What are you expecting from them? The one before that one, Adamu, his highest education level was first degree in accountancy. Why would, and he was there for 8 years, wasting everybody's time. Why are you expecting this support to perform? You must first get the right manpower in place, right pegs in square pegs and square holes. Without it, get the best name in the world, it will fail.
Maybe the president believes that for you to be minister of education, at least you must go through education. I mean, I've gone to school and all of that. Is it more than that?
Yeah, listen, Mike.
Is it more than having BSc or PhD or in any field, of your choice?
Very good. Thank you for that question. This is the critical question we must always ask. Does the fact that you teach in the university make you an educationist? The answer is no. If you teach in the university, you have a PhD, you're a professor, you're an academic, that does not automatically make you an educationist. People like us are the ones who went to school from undergraduate level down to PhD. We studied only education. There are principles, there are theories, there are practices, which only those who have devoted decades studying it can understand perfectly. Give them the chance to run the system. How can a kidney care expert run your education system and you expect the system to work? Can we take a geographer and ask the person to take care of your kidney and you enter the theater and come out alive? Why are we now believing that somebody who knows nothing about education can take our education to the theater and bring it out alive? This is a contradiction. What you don't do in medicine, you want to do it in education. This is, I'm trying to be careful because of my level of education and international exposure and reputation. These people make me cry about our country. It's not that we like the skills. It's not that we like the manpower. It's not that we like the capacity. Many of us are willing to serve our country even for free. Put our skills at the disposal of Nigeria so that this blessed country with enormous resources endowed within our soil can rise up and play its proper role in the community of nations. Politicians are preventing us from rising up and becoming what God has programmed us to become. So, Mike, move in that direction. If you are running any campaign to help Nigeria, run it from the level of let's always put square pegs in square holes, round pegs in round holes, and that solves all your problems. Stop worrying about nomenclature. 12-4, 63-4, 9-9-3-4. Those things that's not where your problem lies. Your problem lies in capacity. Your problem lies in equipping the classrooms. Your problem lies in equipping your laboratories. Your problem lies in governance. Your problem lies in training teachers to have capacity. Our teachers don't know how to teach. That's why children describe education as a scam. You finish, you have no skills, you can't fit into industry. And you're wasting time with nomenclature. Get the teachers to know what to do. You haven't trained them. Why are you blaming them for not teaching well? Okay? And then you don't pay them well. Teachers are harassed. Parents walk into classrooms and slap teachers and walk away. Teacher makes a little mistake. Everybody descends on the teacher. But nobody campaigns for the teacher. So teaching has become teachers have become endangered species in our country. And so long as that remains the case, so long as you don't give teachers recognition and respect and the remuneration that they deserve, for that long will you continue to struggle as a country. All this tinkering you are doing with oil subsidy, foreign exchange, all of those things will continue to fail. You are doing trial and error. Education is where everything begins. If you don't train and get the right people in the right places and get the entire citizenry to think properly so that they can put the right people in the right places all the time, you will continue to struggle as a country. So let's end it there so that I can move on to other things this morning, Mike.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Peter Ugodor. I mean, it's been a revealing one right there. It's been a wonderful time talking to you. We understand how busy you are today. Thank you for giving us the time for us to talk to you. We'll go on a short break right now. When we return, the conversations continue. Please stay with us.
We don't just talk the talk.
More light in all of this conversation concerning the federal government 12-year basic education. As it is right now, they are meeting with the NUT, I guess that Nigerian Union of Teachers, and also meeting with the All Nigeria Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools. And that will be happening on Wednesday. I'm being joined by Said Olowo, who has been to a learning advisor and an education expert. Said, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
I mean, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine. I mean, it's been a very, very tough conversation right here earlier on the show because of, the statement from the Minister of Education proposing 12-year basic education. And probably earlier there were reports that the federal government was scrapping the secondary school, that's the JSS, and the senior secondary school, that's the SSS models in Nigeria. But then let's listen to the voice of the minister again, and then we'll come back and take it off from there.
The setting yesterday at the council meeting yesterday was to put this idea out for us to discuss before we now decide what exactly we're going to do. And I want to clearly clear the sensationalization that has gone out since yesterday, that the Federal Ministry of Education, the federal government, has scrapped GSS and SS, primary school GSS and SS education. We have not. That still stays. What we're saying is that we need to move from what we have now as 9 years compulsory education to 12 years of compulsory education as it's obtained in other parts of the world. If you look back into the history of Nigeria, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people that that went through the primary education then and got up to standard 6 if you compare the level of education, the level of instruction, even as standard 3 there, it's much better than what we get in JSS 3 now.
All right, that's the voice of the Minister of Education talking about Tunji Alausa. I mean, Dr. Mr. Said, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, coming from the era, the time when Nigerians are saying that education is a scam, when the youth are disbelieving in education, when it seems to be like they're turning their back on education, is it the right step to go?
Well, to address that, I think we need to understand why the previous system of education was actually introduced sometime in 2006, and why we are actually thinking of moving into the new system of 12.4. And also, if you would agree with me, the youth that we are complaining about today that are actually not taking education seriously, majority of these youth still have the SS3 certificate, that's the SSC, after writing their work, whether they pass it or not. That is most times when they derail from the education system. Part of the reason why this 9334 was actually introduced as a shift from the 6334 was because we needed to actually increase access to education, most especially for the underserved locations, right? And if the underserved locations, even till this very moment, they still have to go and write common entrance from primary school to secondary school. Now, and in most of these communities also, most of these villages, the low-income communities, they still don't have the secondary school system to date. We're not telling them that, okay, well, we've not made it 12-4. That is, they still have to go through the 12 years compulsorily, right? But we're not saying the 12 years is direct. Whereas in those communities, they have only the primary school, which is the primary 1 to 6. They still don't have the access to education. And I'm thinking that this is still not going to yield a very good result in terms of introducing or reintroducing the youth to the importance of education in Nigeria.
Oh, wow. Well, it's really not going to yield results. Yeah, that's coming from a learning advisor and an education expert. But let's look at comfort. This discussion further. A lot of things are definitely happening in Nigeria. I mean, we have educational system in the UK where we have the 3 to 4 primary school year, the key stage 1, which is about 5 to 7, the key stage 2 with about 7 to 11. Secondary, we have 11 to 14. We have a key stage 4 with about 14 to 16. The student takes the general certificate of secondary education exams at the end of year 11. In USA, we have also a K-12 system. Also in Ghana operates 6-3-4-4 system, primary school. That's 6 years junior secondary high school and 3 years senior secondary high school. Also in Egypt, we have a 6-3-3 structure. 6 years of primary school, 3 years of secondary school, and 3 years of senior secondary school. I mean, all of this, systems, like you said, I mean, let's look at it. Is there not going to be a constraint, financial constraint from the parents? What do you think is wrong with all of this?
Yeah, this is 334 to get their funding from UBEC to actually fund the free education. But the issue is, if education is free and the quality is quite low, I would actually not take my child to a government school because I believe that the quality is quite low there.
That's what we're talking about.
Choose a private school for my own children.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, the level of primary. Let's even look about the numbers. How many government schools do we have? How many private schools do we have? The number of private schools we have now has risen sporadically, and so parents tends to just look at a private school close by. How many children are in private schools now? You hear different kind of stories, different kind of things coming out from them. So what do you think is the problem here? I mean, teachers are not being well paid. There are issues coming from the head of the teachers. Education is not being funded well. A lot of people are saying that, education right now is a scam. Even if, like you said, that they've had, probably a junior WAEC. but they feel not to move on because of maybe admission constraint or some financial constraint from the end of from their family, their parents. Some, you know how hard, how tough they battled it to have a WAEC certificate. I mean, some parents will tell you how difficult it was for them to be able to, push and push and pull to get a WAEC certificate. And then you say, they just come out to believe that, well, education, I mean, there's no need for me to further. Let me just go get something doing. Let me just go put hands into some unscrupulous things that are illegal in the country. All of this, what are the major concerns regarding the quality
I really think one of the issues that we have at the moment also is that the 9334 system of education is actually geared towards preparing the students for the world of work immediately from the junior school. They are supposed to be able to go into the labor market from JSS 3 after their JSS 3 examination. That is what that system is talking about. But the system was not.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yes. Is that right? Yeah, at that point in 2006, that was what we needed in Nigeria. Skills development, vocational skills. I have a friend in this that he learned welding in a secondary school. That was where he learned his welding. And today, he actually went to Yabatet to do his civil engineering course, but today he's eating from his knowledge of welding that he learned while in secondary school. There are people like that also across the board. But the fact is that this did not actually yield the kind of results that we expected to yield, because even the curriculum was not updated successfully from that 2006 till now. Also, some of these policies are just nomenclature changes. It is still like that. How many unity schools do we have in Nigeria today that have primary schools? They only start from secondary school. Whereas the system said initially 934. So that means all the unity schools are supposed to have primary schools down to JSS 3 first, before we now talk about the senior secondary school. But today, majority of the unity schools are starting from JSS 1 to SS3. And at some point, there was a time that they have to pause the JSS 1 to 3 in the majority of the unity schools. And this is a problem also. If the government is not thinking about how to actually improve the teachers' welfare, the facilities that is existent in these schools, then the system is just going to be changing nomenclature, because every primary school, for instance, the private schools were forced or they were enforced to implement some of these things, and it's still going to remain like that if the government themselves are not changing majority of these things. Well, today, if you go into a typical government school, you're seeing a teacher to about 80 students, 100 students in a class. This is because I've actually gone on several field visits, personally for my own research, and also while being we'll still continue to have, even if you go to law and say you want to be 15-4, it will still be the same thing. Also, I don't think the minister is actually thinking of it in this manner that, okay, now we're trying to, with the 12-4, is saying we're trying to increase access to education. That is compulsory, everybody must do the 12, right? If everybody must do the 12 successfully, what is the skills or what are the vocational skills that are going to be attached to that 12? That at the end of the 12 year, at the end of the 12th year, we're saying that the students should have this certain skill to work. Today, initially in the past, we're teaching students how to be clerical staff, confidential secretaries with shorthand, clerical staff with typewriter. The curriculum has remained is now what is common around. Woodwork, metalwork, and the like are still being taken in this curriculum on what is obtainable in the labor market today. I think that is what the minister should be thinking about, not changing the nomenclature of 9334 to 124.
All right, thank you very much. Lagos, don't forget, you can be part of the 904927 or 0805 092 005 690 0927. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ogun State, near Arigbajo.
All right, what's your name?
My name is Oshunle Kamaruddin.
All right, Kamaruddin.
We know that the JSS means junior secondary school, whereby the technical vocational issue is there. It's just a pity that it seems as if they're going to scrap the technical ideas in the country, which I don't think is okay. Personally, I was one of the persons who installed the machines from Shikosabia in Lagos State. We installed them to secondary schools. I'm part of them that did that job. And at the same time, After installation, we saw that some of the machines have been rotted down.
Sorry, what did you say you installed again?
Machines, like lathe machines, woodworking machines, and many just take a machine like that, then, including the milling machines. We installed them. One of them that installed
so how does that implies to the educational sector we're talking about? Yeah.
Fine, good. In terms of technical education, you see, we are talking, we are not scrapping the technical skills in the country. That's my own idea about it. So in that case, we just need to repair all those machines and get some teachers, technical teachers, that will be involved in the sector so that we can develop technologically in the country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I don't know if you heard that, Mr. Said.
Yeah, I think that's exactly everything you said, actually.
Okay, he was just talking about technical schools. I mean, in Nigeria, how important it is. You know, he also was he's a beneficiary of technical schools. That's just what he was trying to say. Okay, we have a message. Yeah, Olamileko from Lagos. Nigeria has not gotten this bad until this nightmare government came into power in 2015. Says the indicator are there. We entered Buhari's government, Tinubu's government. He said the president even said he will continue in Buhari's legacy. He has done 10 times worse. Well, we've not. You talked about education. Look at the dead state of education. They turned a secured country to gangster paradise. Well, we're looking at education, and not more of politics. Thank you very much for your message, though, Olamileko. Yes, keep the call coming. 0705-890-4927. 0705-890-4927. Our colors 0805-092-0927. 0805-092-0927. All right, I mean, what things we've been looking at right now, still in all of this conversation. I mean, Said Olowo, how well do you trust this system? This system of this 12-year system. How well do you trust it? And if you don't trust it, why?
Well, I would say that if the government shows commitment, I think at the moment I'm actually just looking forward to it because I would also say that I don't think there was any consultation that has been, or there was any consultation that is preceding this implementation.
Yes, he's just now they're looking at consultation because they are meeting with the Nigerian Union of Teachers and Principals of Schools. I mean, is this not?
And it's a funny thing because even before the government,
but this is supposed to be the first step before the announcement. I don't know.
It's supposed to consult. I would say that because I'm actually having my advanced degree at the moment. We were in class sometime last week, and we're still arguing about 9334. The 934, in the class, right? And we're still arguing about it. And after the class, 2 days after, we have the news. The government is talking about 12.4. And we're like, even we're still critiquing what is happening with the 934. We're saying that it has not achieved it. This is what the government is supposed to do. And also, I think we have a problem with how we roll out curriculums or how we roll out systems of education in Nigeria. We just conceive it, push it out, and we'll not start doing consultation later. I think one of the first things we need to do was to actually go back and reassess the system that we have at the moment. Think about some of the what's it called, the limitations, the challenges that we are facing with that system. We'll find solutions to those challenges, or those challenges. Then if from that solution, we're thinking, okay, we need to improve it by 12 to 4. The 934 has not actually reduced the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. We still have them in millions. With the 12.4, we also help us to reduce that. Just to have the first 6 years, we have a problem with that because even with the free basic education, we still have over 2 million out-of-school children all around the country. Some time ago, I joined a team and we had to do enrollment drive. And in those communities, in those low-income communities, we had to start convincing them with incentives just for them to enroll their kids in school. We discovered that after the first year they were low, then second year, third year, they don't even see the value because most times those communities have just one teacher teaching the entire grade system. And if they know that it's just one teacher that is coming to teach the entire grade system, they do not even trust the system. The government is supposed to review the curriculum, recruit more teachers, specialized teachers for this role first, then also increase the funding for education. When they do all of this, I think they would be able to now say, okay, with this now, we have all of this in place, then we can now introduce the compulsory 12 years of education that's going to prepare these people for the world of work. Today, how many organizations or how many companies are actually employing people with their YX certificate? I think those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. And also, how many technical schools do we have around the country? In Lagos, I think we have about 2 or 3 in Lagos. And I'm very sure if you have 2 or 3 in Lagos, you can imagine the amount we have in the other states as well.
All right.
And if we're not building more technical schools or equipping these technical schools, I've been in a technical school before and they were describing what a machine is supposed to be like when they are supposed to be using the machine because the machine is not working. If these families are not dead, then we will just be. After this 12-4, maybe the next system of government, the next system will say we want to do 16-0, so that everybody compulsory will do until. And this is one thing that we need to reassess. We need to actually go back to our drawing board.
All right, so we need to
look at the limitations and take it off from there.
Thank you very much for that. Going back, we need to go back to our drawing board. It's been a wonderful time talking to you, Mr. Said Olowo, a learning advisor and an education expert. Thank you very much for your time on the show today.
You're welcome.
All right, Lagos, this is where we draw the curtain on the show Spotlight on Super 92.7 FM. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30, all through down to 9 a.m. My name is Michael Young. Have a beautiful day.
We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. Switch to the good side of life here on 90.